we try to forget that if we are the former vice president of the United States. They never chanted for my head. They definitely chanted for your head on January 6th. There are the insurrectionists. But Vice President Pence is clapping back. And he was speaking at the Gridiron Dinner, which is sort of an annual white tie dinner where I guess politicians are supposed to make fun of themselves and others. And hey, little Mr. Orthodox he's got some jokes, obviously all pre-approved by Mother. He's got some jokes, and he's got some sincere words. And so I don't think I've seen him call out the former president, his former boss, to this extent. But here he is at that dinner saying, quote, "President Trump was wrong. I had no right to overturn the election." Remember, they wanted the vice president to do that. "And his reckless words endangered my family and everyone at the Capitol that day. And I know that history will hold Donald Trump accountable." So I love that like these strong words also end in history will hold him accountable.
Somebody's gonna yell at that guy someday.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's gonna highlight that part in their textbook and be like, ooh. Ooh.
They're gonna highlight it so hard with so much anger. Yeah, this sort of, I mean, I don't know. It sort of reminds me of like writing a strongly worded letter to the editor after 9/11. Like that's, I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but that's maybe not really gonna do much to fix anything.
No, and so okay, this is also a little bit of him talking back to the Tucker Carlson portrayal of January 6th as being visitors who, just had a bad lunch and kind of just, went haywire halfway through their visit to the Capitol building. But he says he went on at this dinner to say, "Make no mistake about it, what happened that day was a disgrace, and it mocks decency to portray it in any other way." But that's actually the tagline for the Tucker Carlson Tonight Show, mocking decency. Let's see, he says, "For as long as I live, I will never diminish the injuries sustained, the lives lost, or the heroism of law enforcement on that tragic day." So he's trying to carve himself out as someone who believes that January 6th was bad. Again, this is all probably positioning himself for a potential run at the presidency himself. But my favorite part of this speech is that Pence has got some jokes, guys. There's a few jokes now. I mean, you tell me what you think of them. We'll talk, we'll rate them. But he took some digs at Donald Trump himself. One of the things he said was that Trump wanted him to sing "Wind Beneath My Wings" at staff meetings because it made him feel better, something like this. Clearly, it wasn't a great joke, but here's a better joke. He said, "I read that some of those classified documents they found at Mar-a-Lago were actually stuck in the president's Bible, which proves he had absolutely no idea where they were."
That's pretty good. But
yeah.
You know what? I have seen a version of that on Twitter, and I've actually said a version of that joke where I'm like, if you want to hide something from a Republican, put it in a book, because they'll never look in it. I've seen versions of that joke before, though. I mean, I'm not saying I like came up with the idea of hiding something in a book, but yeah, I would say 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's also it's creepy because he's back here standing the Bible and doing it's like I don't know. There's only so many. I can't really laugh out loud at someone who's like, they should have just checked Luke chapter 10. That's not my cup of tea, but there was more. He actually mocked a little bit of himself in this. He tried his Trump impression. He said he really liked the passages about smiting and perishing of thine enemies. As he put it, Mike, there's some really good stuff in there. I guess people like that, the smiting and the perishing. This is after Pence, by the way, said that January 6th was bad. So we're also supportive. It's funny. The former president really loves the smiting, loves the perishing, big into the perishing.
I would say Mike Pence has authored some funnier stuff in the past than that joke. Remember his review of Mulan that he posted on the blog that went along with his radio show before he went into politics? Oh, yeah.
No, but yeah. I need to read this immediately.
I'm gonna text it to you after. I'm sure it's like archived somewhere, but it's very funny. He watched Mulan and he was not a fan and wrote a review of it. It's very funny.
It's incredible. Also, was he the person behind the Lodestar op-ed? I still want to know. Okay, then he pokes fun at himself. He says, "I'm not some kind of religious nut. Just ask my sons, Jediah, Obadiah and Zechariah. It's true. I'm a man of deep faith. In fact, my preferred pronouns are thou and thine.
Okay, that's funny. I think that's like I think for him, I think that's pretty good.
Oh God, the preferred pronouns as a setup. I mean, the right loves that anything. My preferred pronouns, are gun and nut, or whatever.
Are they don't make sense grammatically, but thou and thine actually, like, that's a way for the joke to work without it making fun of the existence of preferred pronouns. It makes fun of his religiosity instead of like the fact that sometimes people don't use he or she pronouns. I don't know. I think it's an okay one.
Yeah. No, we'll give him that. I think he's finding his voice. I think he's got a few more years to go before he can sort of work out a full routine, tour the country a little bit, and he'll crush it. But look, this is at the same time, obviously, that he has asked a judge to block a grand jury subpoena for his testimony related to January 6th on the grounds that he is a coward. No, that he is protected by the Constitution's speech or debate clause. So I think he's found something maybe it was in the Bible. Maybe he doesn't really know. There's something protects him from having to actually speak anymore on January 6th. But look, we saw his entire team running for their lives effectively, scared as hell after finding out that, this mob was chanting for Mike Pence's head and that they wanted him specifically to act.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.